Welcome to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, where we uncover the powerful truth about your beginnings and how they've shaped your entire life. I'm Shannon O'Flaherty, and in this show, we are not just exploring your birth, we are dismantling the chains of generational trauma. We're diving into the core of who you are, peeling back layers of inherited beliefs and behaviors that have held you back for far too long. This isn't just about understanding your past. It is about reclaiming your future. Get ready to break free. This is Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, and your transformation starts now. Hi, welcome to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance. I'm Shannon O'Flaherty, and today's episode is all around the eternal mother and how it relates to our return to our erotic, innocent impulse. And my beautiful, amazing guest today is Coco Oya Cienna Rey. She's the author of Digging for Mother's Bones from Womancraft Publishing, and is a UK-based mother, grandmother, creative mystic, soul guide, and writer. Her creativity is informed by her journey as a devotee of the tantric path, an embodied path of self-liberation, and her personal journey with trauma. She's always felt a call to channel the voice of the divine feminine and is published in several best-selling anthologies. Often thought-provoking, yet always heartfelt, her work speaks of the sacred wisdom stored in the body, the nonlinear nature of trauma, and the embodiment of the soul. She believes that our innate connection to the natural world can heal humanity. Her podcast, Sirens of the Mother, is receiving growing recognition. As a deeply sensitive, highly empathic, and gifted intuitive, Coco Oya can be found weaving her soul guidance and embodiment work at, and make note, www.creativelycoco.com. And we'll say that again during the show. And today she's going to talk to us about how the presence of the eternal mother relates to our individual healing of the mother wound and our collective birth trauma. Coco Oya, I'm so honored and so happy to have you here with me tonight, and congratulations!
Thank you so much. Honestly, I am buzzing, absolutely buzzing about my book and like the joy that people are getting from reading the book.
It's an absolutely beautiful book, and I'd hoped to had already completed it, but I was just telling Coco that I was 34 pages in. And what did you tell me that I was?
What did I say? I said you're the third person that has said they are at page 34. And I was like, okay, there's something in there, 777 when it's added up. And I just feel, yeah, it's brought home that, like you said, the potency and the depth that the book brings from the very beginning, you know, it draws you in. And people are having like full body activations already from reading the first few pages. So I know that the medicine of the book, when it was channeled through me, is alive and kicking. You know what I mean?
It is really a very powerful, it is a very powerful transcript here, really.
Mhm.
And what I love about this is that, and I was just saying this to you, is that you dive right into the deep end. And I was saying
Mhm.
probably why we resonate, because you're deep, I'm deep, and we like to get right on in there, none
Mhm.
of this flapping about on the surface.
Yeah, because
So
we haven't got time anymore. Do you know what I mean?
I
We need
do.
to touch the things that are deeply held within so that we can not just relieve the trauma, the, you know, depth of the ancestral trauma that we've been carrying for so long, but to excavate the ancestral gifts. They are waiting for us to reclaim them. And so let's just get in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I
Do
really
you know what
do.
I mean? It's
So
like Mama says we not got no time to mess about now. She needs her children on board
it's
to
true.
be fully in their full sovereign sense of self so that we can turn this ship around and live as according to how we are supposed to live as humans, you know.
Absolutely. I just love the
Mm.
way you talk and I love the way you write. You really have a very eloquent way of putting all of your words together. It's just a
Thank you.
joy. So well done. And I really recommend that everybody go on out there and find this Digging
Mhm.
for Mother's Bones, Coco Oya Cienna Ray. You can find it on
Mhm.
Amazon and everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, from the 20th, it will be everywhere. It
Oh,
will
from the
be everywhere.
20th.
Yeah, yeah.
Free copy.
Yes, you got the pre-copy. So many people got the pre-copy. So grateful to you all for buying, pre-orders. And yeah, it's doing amazing. But I just want to say something that every time someone says, "Oh my God, you write so eloquently," I chuckle inside because I am dyslexic.
Mhm.
It wasn't discovered until in my late 20s.
Wow.
And because I wanted to learn to read and write properly because I had children. And slightly discovered them, but it was really discovered when I was 38 that I was dyslexic. And so I see it as like a cosmic joke that this is my life now. I am a writer. And when I first started to write the book, I didn't actually use my eyes to write. It was a channeled thing. So I would close my eyes and the pen would write, or I'd close my eyes and I would type and it would just come. And the first time it happened, I would look and it was like perfect, like writing. And so it's almost like a sense, a sixth sense, why I write the way I write, rather than a logical thing of trying to write as a
Compose each
normal person.
sentence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And that's so inspirational and really important for people to hear because
Mhm.
a lot of times people have a limitation and they
Mhm.
allow it to limit them. And what
Yeah.
you're saying is that limitations don't matter. You can still do
No.
whatever it is that you want to do. In fact, you've
Mm.
overcome quite a few things.
Yeah.
Having just started your story and talking to you somewhat.
Mm.
So can you please tell the viewing and listening audience and me how you came to meet the mother and how she became the main focus of your life and your
Mhm.
devotion to her?
Yeah. I would love to say that, it was a beautiful discovery, but it was actually through a near-death experience because I didn't want to be alive. And I had, experienced trauma from being 2 years old, all kinds of trauma. And it was just such a heavy burden at the time. My partner had passed away unexpectedly. My mother's life had been taken. I'd set up my business, and then I heard a voice in my head saying it was your last client. So I kind of gave my business up. I followed the voice. I now know it was the dark side of the mother.
Wow.
And around that time, I was betrayed by some friends, and just everything was falling apart. I lost like my house, my business, just everything.
The real
And I
tower
was just,
card, huh?
yeah, it was just like, are you kidding me? You know that thing when you get stripped bare by spirit? It was like, and I just didn't want to be here. And then I write about it in the book that the day of the near death experience, the way that life synchronized, that I was discovered because my friend felt my soul leaving my body. I live in the UK, she lived in Canada. She set the wheels in motion to have me rescued at the precise time that my soul was crossing over and I met the mother. And it felt like I was taken back into the arms of love. That's all I can say. Back into the cosmic womb, back into the beginning
Baby
of
chills.
where my soul originated from. And I can feel myself welling up every time I tap into that energy. The love that I felt just rewrote everything. However,
Wow.
it rewrote everything so much that I kind of lost all my memory. And when I met the mother, she said there is no judgment. You know, if I wanted to go, I could, but I had things to do and I
Mhm.
had a message to bring. And I
Did
always
you
say that death
learn? Sorry
like
to
kissed me
interrupt
on the
you.
lips, but
Yeah.
she like just anointed me with a drop of her love. And that's the frequency that I carry now.
Did you learn at that moment what your soul's mission was, or was it like a because you met her and you had that profound cellular feeling of love and all-encompassing love, was that like a knowing, or how did that work?
The only way I can say it is that when she like kissed me or touched me on the head, it was like getting a download of my whole life, but I can't specifically say because it's like swallowing an encyclopedia in one go. And it was a process to unravel
Hmm.
what the and decode what the messages actually were that she was giving me. But I knew it had to do with love. I knew it had to do with liberating sexual energy on the planet. And I knew it had to be to do around embracing the sense of mothering oneself. And at the time when I came back, I had no like recollection of like it was like I had to be reintroduced back to my family because I had no memory of what kind of why my life was the way it was. And slowly memories started coming back and I started to work on those. But then also the
Oh,
vision of
oh,
what
so
she
hold
wanted me
on.
to do.
What you just said, that you had no memory. It's
It was
like
like,
love had overruled all of the
no,
pre-trauma.
it was like, imagine, so how I see the body is that um, we carry it's a living library, so we carry all our memories and our experience in the body, and I always say that the fascia is the akasha, and so
Mhm.
my kasha was full. It was full, like a kasha on a computer that needs to be cleaned. That's what happened. It was like it just got wiped, so I got rebooted so that whatever virus mind I had around being in this loop of trauma, it like, you know, when you had to turn your computer off and on, it was like being turned off and on. And then slowly I was rebooting back and remembering things. And the old like code, the old memories were being filtered out. And so um imagine not at the time I thought it was like going senile because I thought, you know, I can't remember anything, but I wasn't meant to because I'm here to be a channel for one. And also that it was outdated, it wasn't serving me.
Mhm.
And it needed to be let go. And I was so attached to my story that
Oh
I
God,
couldn't let
even
it
the
go.
rest of the world. So what you're
Yeah,
saying here is really, really relevant. I mean, you had an extreme experience,
yeah,
so near death, and you chose to stay. You were
yeah.
given the opportunity to choose to stay. Thank you, friends,
Mm,
angels, and
yeah.
whoever were guarding you. But as a species, people are needing to let go and detach from their
Mhm.
old stories, from their headiness. Don't you
Yeah.
think we're all trapped in our heads?
Mm,
You want to
yeah.
talk about how your new
Yeah, so we were conditioned to live in the head, right, and not in the body, and be dissociated and detached. And especially if we've had trauma, we've been conditioned to believe that the feelings and the emotions are the things that we need to run away from, when they are exactly the thing that we need to feel to move through. And so at the time, I had to remember how to feel. And I had to remember how to do basic things like eat and all sorts of things when I first came back, because it was, like I said, it was like being born again
Mhm.
and remembering what it is to be a whole human. And at the time, I just like cried out to God, the mother at the time, and said, okay, I am back now. I am not doing it how I did before. You better, I mean, I commanded,
Yeah.
you better send me the people that I
Yeah.
need to move forward because I am not doing that again. And yeah, a week later, I was introduced to a, a teacher that I had at the time. I had her for 4 years. Um, she helped me really understand the depression and the suicidal ideation that I'd had from being a very young child, and that it wasn't that I wanted to die, it was that the old version of me needed to die, and I didn't know how to let go. And no one has to do it extreme like I did, but I carry that resonance now and understanding of what it is to have a full ego death, and to have your like memory completely, the identity that we attach ourselves to let it go. And
Can
so
you
that's an imprint I bring.
can you expand on that suicidal ideation part? Because I bet a lot of people have have a
Mm,
moment anyway of that, if not
yeah.
more than a moment. Yeah.
So if you think about trauma happens because we're not allowed to live the full experience. Somehow, an experience happens, and if we're lovingly carried through that, we can move through it. It's like a wave of energy. What
Mhm.
happens with trauma is that energy gets stopped because we get conditioned to not feel. Someone will say, "Don't cry." Someone will say, "It wasn't that bad," whatever it is. So I had all these things within me, and I, so much so because I lived in a really traumatic environment, that it became my identity. I attached myself to that identity of poor me, poor,
Mm,
you know, poor
mhm.
me, a survivor of severe abuse. And it just became the makeup of what I was. And it's not our true identity. There are experiences that we have. So for a very long time, I had to suppress my emotions around that because it wasn't acknowledged that the living environment that I was in was very traumatic. And so I stuffed all that away and became this smiley, smiley girl and was living a false life, a
Wearing the
false
mask. Yeah,
identity.
it's part of the
To the
process.
point it got so heavy that, it just weighed me down. And
Mhm.
the only way that my soul purpose could come online at that time was that, like I said, to get fully rebooted. And this is the process that we are in now as a collective, in this collective dark night of the soul. Because if you think about it, everything that we built around that notion of always being forward, always building, always going, out of sync with life, always racing against the clock, always wanting more, more, more. It's not who we are as humans. It's not who we are. And we've all bought it and drunk the Kool-Aid. Do you know what I mean? And
Now
now,
you're listening in a different way.
yeah,
You're
listening in a
experiencing,
different
thinking
way.
in a different way, listening in a different way. Tell us the new way.
The new way is
Difference between your old way of receiving and your new way since being kissed by the mother way of receiving,
okay.
if you can.
How can I put this into words? Like I said, we have been sold a big lie that we have to accumulate things instead of working in conjunction with life. We are part of life, we are part of nature, and we've become devoid of that. And the new way is through feeling, through the body, not the mind. The mind is a mere tool. It is not meant to run the show. Do you know what I mean? We're
Okay,
supposed to be
real.
tuning into life. Like, think of an acorn. It doesn't question who it is. Do you know what I mean? It knows its potential to become a great oak. And we've been told that our potential is is nonsense. We've been taught that we have to accumulate um, like academic
Yeah.
prowess to be intelligent, when
Yeah.
that's far, far, far from the truth. Our intelligence lives in the body. Now, my way of being is I sense my way through life rather than think my way through life. I wait to feel an impulse with life, which is why I said that when we tap into nature, nature is the closest thing to our biology. And we are meant to live in synchronized union with nature because we are part of nature. We're made up of the same thing. And so tuning to the subtle elements and realms of life, like I said, nature, trees, whatever, however, they sense life. They sense each other through the mycelium. And we have to understand that our fascia is a reflection of the mycelium in the body, in the earth. It's the same thing. And we're meant to sense each other. That's our true nature. We're not meant to think, we're meant to be able to feel and have an essence of transparency between us. And it's almost like, well, it is telepathy. This is the way that we're kind of going. We can sense things. And I was always taught that my sensitivity was wrong,
Oh,
that I
that's
was oversensitive,
so
that,
sad.
yeah. And to be empathic was, too much. I was always a too much girl because I feel deeply. But this is how we're meant to be. We're meant to feel and love one another and be able to sense what is happening in another human being. We all know that if we walk into a room where there's been an argument, we can feel it in the
Like
ethers.
crunchy. It's
Yeah.
so we're also blessed that your friend in Canada sensed you
Mm,
when you were on your way out to go, hold on, girl, you have some
mm,
work to do and some people to touch
yeah.
because I know you've touched a lot of people. And
Yeah.
that's really important. And
Mm,
everybody has telepathy. Everybody has it.
mm.
It's not something
And
you have to learn.
everybody has the ability to sense things, but we live in a world where we have been bombarded with violence and war and things that rattle our nervous system and cause us to shut down and believe that to not feel is the norm when it's not the norm. And
Mm,
so it can take, not can take, it takes effort to reprogram yourself to become a feeler again in a way where you have the capacity to feel what is going on in the world without taking it on as you,
yeah.
because we need to be in our strength. And that isn't barricading ourselves or overprotecting ourselves. It is a skill that we all carry to be able to put our feelers out and feel the world and navigate the world through feeling. And this is what is happening now with the divine feminine that is rising. It is awakening us back to our sensitive nature. And it's as it's rising, it's revealing every single thing that is out of alignment with
Mhm.
love, with the love that we are, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
We've
People
gone
have.
completely against our nature, completely against our true nature.
It's interesting because it's kind of an energetic boundary because if you know about yourself, if you know you're super sensitive, like I'm super
Mm.
sensitive, large crowds, London rush hour, like, well, I'm not going to go out in that because it's too much. You're saying
I'm
no.
gonna change it. No, that's the thing though. We need to get out of that. I
Right.
now, my daughter lives in London and I go to London every month. And at
Wow.
first, oh my God, it was like you said,
Oh,
overwhelming,
what?
overbearing, too much, too loud, too whatever.
What?
Now I love it because I live with that current of electric energy within me. And I can navigate that. And that's what I'm saying. We need a sensitive tools to remember why we are sensitive. It's not so we can hide and exclude it. It's so that we can become the thing that navigates this change in humanity. It is through our body that we are being transmitted with this new earth energy, and we are the signal that sends it out so that everyone can wake up. We're
But if
not
you're
meant
really
to
super
shroud it.
sensitive and it's, ugh, which
Well,
it is,
this is the
how,
thing. This is
how do you
why.
bring it up to balance that? I'm
So
really
this
curious.
is the
I'm going to
why.
London next month.
So this is the why in the book I have embodiment practices so that you can
Okay,
begin
good.
to reside in your body. I left my body and had to remember how to get back into my body. This is why I know that the body is key. And when we learn to be able to sense our environment from the inside out and then create the capacity to hold more energy, it becomes a protective shield around you so that you can walk through the world and not be affected by the world. You can be in the world and not be of it. You can
Wow.
be feel what is going on in the field in a way where you detach from the heavier like frequencies and attune to what I call the tone of the mother, that nurturing um softness that is all around us. It's like, again, I always use nature as a reference because the trees don't run away from the environment, right? They are
Oh,
solid in themselves
there,
and
they
they
have.
know how to transform the
Yeah.
thing that we class as waste and transform it into something else. And this is what happens when you are able to walk in the world. You become an alchemist and you're able to transform all that negativity or heavier energies and transform it and use it as fuel for
Right. Okay, I'm going
yourself.
to practice this. I'm
As
I've
fuel,
done it for
yeah.
some things like reading the news and, just for small things like that. But when I know that it's going to be a huge thing, if I can go at a different time so that there's a
Mhm.
little less people, I will just because it's so much. So
Mhm.
I'm going to do all of your embodiment practices
Yeah.
before I
And
go
it's a and it's a process, right? Because we are unfreezing like centuries of withheld trauma and stories in our bodies. We carry stories from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. We carry the imprint from lifetime to lifetime. So it's a process of unfurling and unfreezing so that we can feel and be in our natural state of being.
No, I
And
love that.
so it's not how I liken it is you wouldn't crack it, you wouldn't to be reborn again. It's like I did it the hard way, a crack got cracked from the outside in, but we need to unfurl from the inside out and be
Right.
gentle and loving with ourselves, which is why the medicine of the mother, which is that compassionate, non-judgmental holding love, is the essence of the feminine that came through to me and worked with me to unravel these things that I'd held for years and years and years.
So after, I mean, it's fascinating what you say because I've done a lot of myofascial work to
Mm,
heal like old injuries or old
mhm,
surgeries, the places, and have really transformed a lot of things in my physical body by working with the fascia. It's fascinating.
mhm.
So you're just taking that out as though your fascia were reaching out, right? Yes.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
tendrils, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I like
It
that.
yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. We
So
are big
after,
feelers.
yeah.
That's what we are.
Okay, thank you for your wisdom. After meeting the mother and being embraced by her and your near-death experience, and you were coming back, you had to rebuild,
Mhm.
you're changing everything. What happened after that? How did your
Like I said, I put a cry out to God, like, if I am back here, then we're doing this in a better way, right?
so what
And
was
I cried out for my teacher, and she, like I said, she really helped me understand why I had to like die to the old ways and why the body is key, and it's particularly for women around our greatest portal of power is our womb. Our greatest portal of power is our pussies. And we are being there's a reason why there's such an attack on the feminine bodies because we are the portals that will bring in this new ushering of time. And so I had to learn to reconnect to those in a deeper way and see them as the seat of my power and understand the force of that Kundalini Shakti energy that wants to rise through us all, that is rising through us all and clearing it all, so that we can get back to the original template of who we are, which is like erotic, innocent impulse.
That's what I was going to
Um,
ask you to
yeah,
talk about. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Talk
yeah,
about that.
yeah. So if you think about it, we all got created through sex, right? We need to kind of get over it. That this is who we are. We are sexual beings, but not in the way that we've been conditioned to think. Because unfortunately, in this paradigm, love has been substituted with lust. It's been overlaid with lust. And so we're living in the base chakras. And that's twisting us all in out of shape.
And it's, with
Because
lust
yeah,
associated with sin and
yeah,
all of that too.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
exactly. Because we are physical, but we are divine also. So
Mm-hmm.
this electric erotic impulse is the same thing when you think again about nature, the birds and the bees. We talk about that as in that sexual chemistry, that synergy between life and nature itself. And we are the same. That innocent impulse that you see in young children when they're just carefree and full of bliss and full of life and full of imagination and curiosity and just in awe of life and awe of the simple things. That is our true nature. We do not need to live in our head. We just need to get with the element and flow of life and
Mm-hmm.
come back to that original spark that lives in us, that created us, that, if you want to say it as a Big Bang, giant orgasm, the spark that comes to life when the sperm and the egg meet, and that atomic bomb force creates that initiation that sets the heart alight and brings us back. And that's where we're meant to live from, navigate from our hearts. But for women, we live in the lower element of our body. And for men, their goal is to attend to their hearts. So when the mother spoke to me, she said, I am here to awaken the hearts and minds of men and awaken women to the wonders of themselves, meaning their womb. And I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what any of my journey meant in the time, because I also had a visitation from Jesus before all that happened that said I was here to heal the sexual wounds of the planet. And again, I had no idea, but something in me just trusted when I heard these voices. Even though initially, when I first started waking up in my 20s, I thought I was actually going mad
I
because I
think a
was
lot of
hearing,
people,
seeing,
yeah,
sensing
on a
a
spiritual
lot.
path, when you start opening and you start tapping into uh, guided messages, not from, you don't know where they're coming from. You're hearing voices in your head, in psychology, it's called psychotic, right? But it's
Mhm,
not that you're being guided, and people think, oh, spiritual awakening, it's all la la, but there's no
mhm.
la la about it. It's tough, tough, tough
Yeah.
crossroads.
Yeah, and it can be frightening because at the time when I first woke up, I wasn't spiritually aware in any sense or shape at all. I had no idea what was happening to me. Neither did my family, neither did anybody else. Like I said, they thought I'd gone mad.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so it's um it's been a journey, and would I change any of it? No, because it's the most extraordinary thing that's happened to me. I always say I'm an ordinary woman living an extraordinary life. And yeah, I feel really blessed that that's what my soul came in to live through a lot of pain and heartache, to be
Hmm.
able to understand the human experience in such a way where I am not afraid of the darkness. I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of this outwardly chaotic thing that we have going on, because when the mother kissed me back to life, the vision of the mother world that I saw, our original template, which is heaven on earth here now, that we are waking up to, like I said, there are us who I call the sirens of the mother that are here bringing through this wisdom and changing the fabric of creation as we emanate this frequency. And because I know the vision, I know where we're going, I know our potential as humans, and I hold that wholeheartedly. Even though people may call me naive, it's nowhere to be seen. No, it isn't. I live in the unseen. I am a mystic, and I
You're
feel
feeling
it.
it. You're
I
feeling it.
feel the template. I'm bringing in the template. It's sacred geometry. I feel that, and
It's
that's what
funny.
landed here on.
Often some of the things you say, and when we spoke last week to talk about this call, um, I get that left side feeling, which is when I'm really hearing truth or when I'm being confirmed about something. And I get this whole feeling. And a few times, even just during this show tonight, I've been like, whoa, got those chills going. So I love it. And I felt like that when I was reading your book too. It feels like there's some kind of transmission
Yeah.
going on energetically. It's
Mm.
a
Yeah.
very interesting time.
Yeah. I
You're very
speak about that in the book because I am an activator, a pattern disruptor in the transmission, which means that frequency is my thing. The words are on the page, but there is a frequency and vibration also in the book. And you're not the first person to say that they've got, like I said to the beginning, and they're already having activations. And what I will say is to really just take it. It's not for the mind, it's for the body. Allow the body to do what it needs to do.
Don't you
Your
think
body
that
will actually want to release. Um,
words have frequencies? I mean,
yeah,
everything is a frequency.
yeah.
Thoughts are a frequency, right? So,
Mhm.
with all of the brilliant books out there in the world, and with the brilliant everything that's out there in the world, um, why would some frequencies really go in? Like, so what have you charged your book with a frequency
No.
activating transmission as well, or
Um,
because of where it came from being channeled, it came with that?
yeah,
Do you know what I'm
because
asking?
yeah, it's not like a thing that I consciously set out to do. I
Right.
didn't consciously set out to write a book either. I started writing in my journal because I wanted to understand what the hell happened to me. Do you know what
Mhm.
happened to me? What happened to my life? Why did I have the parents that I had? Why was there so much trauma? Why didn't my mum leave my father when there was so much violence in the house? Why did she end up dying at his hands? Why did I end up repeating that pattern, getting into violent relationships myself? What it was like, what is going on with what is going on here? Do you know what I mean? So it was like I started writing in my journals, and the more that I wrote and emptied out, the more this presence started taking over to the point where it would wake me up in the middle of the night to like write. And it's only like afterwards that I realized, reading it back myself, that I realized that there was a transmission in this. And when I first sent the pages off to the publishers, again, I woke up in the middle of the night. I heard, send this to her. I didn't do a full proposal. I just wrote and said, I don't even know what this is, but I've been told I need to send it to you. And then Lucy from Womancraft, messaged me a few weeks later to say that I don't know what that was, but I cried my eyes out when I read it. And I want you to go away and see if you can write 3 chapters. And if you can, then we will help you to make it as a book. And
Wow,
so, yeah.
that's amazing. I mean, that never happens, first of all. Like publishers going, this is fantastic. You're not even
But
writing, a book, you're not even proposing a book, but we want it to be a book.
exactly, which is why I know it was divinely ordained, because nothing has been logical about this process at
Mhm.
all. And I want to just say to the listeners, the times that we're moving in now is illogical. Okay. It were
Yeah.
not meant to like navigate through the mind. And
Yeah.
so those nudges that I got when I was asleep, that woke me up, or those strange imaginings that I'd have through the day. I followed those as breadcrumbs, not because I thought, oh, I'm on some mystical journey, but out of curiosity, but also the fact that my mind had been wiped of all the things of, oh, well, that's stupid. It was like, what could I have lost? I'd already died.
Yeah, right,
It was
right.
like I had nothing to lose but to
Yeah.
like follow these weird happenings and like just live as if I was living in a fairy tale because everyone told me I was away with the fairies anyway. So let's just, live up to the expectations and just
Yeah,
be the weird one that's like saying, oh, something's just told me to go over there. I'm going to go over there and see, you know what I mean?
I do. So bringing all of this together, because this is about birth imprints, the show is
Mm,
about birth trauma and which covers everything.
mm,
But if our purpose is to clear our birth trauma and to come back to that erotic
mm,
innocent impulse, what
mm.
what if it wasn't an innocent impulse? What if your imprint, your birth imprint, like what if your mother was raped, or what if you were, your mother tried to abort you? I've heard that many, many times. What if you
Mm.
were your very first imprint is not one of love and innocence?
Okay. I will say your first imprint is always love and innocence. It gets overlaid with trauma because we live in a traumatic system that creates trauma and that has taught conditioned us away from our emotions. So those imprints get passed down. Also, the false matrix imprints get imprinted on us. So much gets overlaid on the true essence of who we are that we think it's natural and normal to have trauma and birth trauma. Me going back to the original source, to the cosmic womb where my soul originated from,
Spirit.
rewrote all the trauma from through lifetimes, through my birth, because like you said, my birth was I was conceived through rape. So I like was um already on the back foot. Do you know what I mean? And because,
The human
yeah,
baby, but the spirit baby, when she's thinking of coming on down again,
mm,
that's innocent, of course.
that is the inner, that is
Pure.
our erotic, that is our innocent input because it comes from source and it
Right.
lives in us. It never die. It cannot die. It's an eternal flame of the eternal
Regardless of what you
mother,
were born into.
regardless of what we were born. And this is what happened to me. I saw the separation of me as a divine being and the story that I bought as myself as a wounded, abused child. Yeah. So it was like I once I began to see the separation, I realized that that isn't me. It's a lived condition, but the true essence of me is that pure, erotic, innocent impulse that is the spark of life that
It
lives
makes me
inside
want to
me and
cry.
lives inside us all. Exactly. It's
Beautiful.
beautiful,
Because
right?
we all know it. We all
Because we know it.
our inner truth, even if we think we're some
Exactly.
terrible person. I don't. I quite like myself now, but after a lot of work, right? But we all know
Exactly.
that truth.
We know it because we are all, but all life for me is birthed through the mother. There is no story in my head now that says that woman was born out of a rib and that God is a masculine force.
Mhm.
For me, God is a feminine force. It birthed the masculine and it birthed the feminine and it created us. But a womb creates life. And I went back to the cosmic womb. And I know that that's the spark of our creation. And I know that that's what I'm here to bring a remembrance of, that whether we look at the wound of separation from our birth mother or from the cosmic womb, it is the mother wound, the full spectrum of it. And I lived through that and came back through that and totally understand that that is the original wound that we are all longing for. We all want that nurturance and that love. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. For
But we've
sure.
forgotten that it lives in us. It is us. We are the love that we're seeking. We are the thing that we're seeking to turn this around. We are it. And I'm calling on all my sensitive beings, sensitive, sensual, erotic beings. It's not sexual in that sense of it's about the base thing. It is your life force that
Mhm.
runs through you, that
Yeah.
runs through nature, that runs through all life. It's the same makeup. And this
And
is what we need to get back to.
multi-dimensional. So not just
Yeah.
here on
No,
this
no. Yeah.
platform. Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the fabric of life. And that's why, you know, I joke to myself, I'm doing what now? Changing the fabric of reality just by
Yeah.
being myself,
Yeah. Why not?
allowing this pulse to just live through me. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean? And just yeah, allow it to. And this is the thing about healing that after that, I tried so hard to heal. Oh my God, years and years and years. And now it's like I realize that when we allow ourselves to surrender and receive that energy, it rewrites the trauma anyway because it's love. Love rewrites everything. It's the most powerful force. And so, why not let us learn now to do things in an easeful, peaceful,
Yeah.
loving, gentle, compassionate way rather than beating ourselves over our heads, thinking that, we've got to cathart all the time to heal and release. I'm not saying that that's not part of the process, but there comes a point where we have to soften and
Yeah.
allow ourselves just to feel. That's all we need to do and
And
to love each other through it.
what about bringing in the ancestors? I'm sure you have a viewpoint
Mm.
on that. You want to touch on that for a little bit, and we're not having a commercial break this time because it's just so
It
fascinating
is.
to talk to. I can't wait to ask the next question. But and also we want you to take us through a quick little process. So
Yeah.
if we're going to all fit into the hour.
Yeah. So ancestral healing is part of the process because we are not birthed in separation, right?
Mhm.
We came through somebody and they came through somebody. And as I said at the beginning, if they don't tend to the wounds, it gets passed down the lineage. And there's always one in the family that's like a rebel that will say, you know, I no more. I am here to shift something. They may not know what it is, but I can guarantee people that are listening to this show, whether you want to call it the black sheep of the family, or the one that always gets persecuted, or the one that always feels like I don't quite fit in, or I don't belong, I don't know where I belong. Exactly. You are here for a reason. There's a
Yeah.
reason you're not meant to belong. It's not so that you can feel sad. It's so that you can remember that you are bringing in the blueprint of where we're going. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
The
I do.
mother world, which is what I talk about in the end part of the book, in the radiant bit of the book and the closing of the book, I talk about the evolutionary process of where we're going, which is what the mother infused with me. That notion of we're going back to our original blueprints. We are going back to the original blueprint of the earth that was harmonious, you know?
Beautiful. See, look, there I'm going again. Woo! My feels. It's lovely. I hope you're
Feeling
all
it?
getting all your feels too, whatever they are
Yeah.
for you. So,
And this is the joy. This is what happens when I allow myself to feel that full joy of love. It's an activation and it activates you. And then you take that seed and
yeah,
you pass it on like seeds of nature.
yeah.
You feel it, you feel the seed, you pass it on, they feel the seed. And that's how we're meant to feel. Feeling is not meant to be a horrible thing. Feeling can be like bliss and
Yeah.
ecstatic joy. It's like, what
Well, better when
can
it
we
is
get
like
there?
that.
Can we remember that that's what the nature of feeling is? It's not so that we can feel the trauma and the pain, but we can move through that. And underneath that is joy and bliss and
Yeah.
harmony and
Well,
peace.
once you face something, when you face the monster under the bed, it's not so scary
Yeah.
anymore. And it's the same with trauma and pain. If you can go into it, safely with somebody caring for you and facilitating your process ideally, then you can come out
Mm.
the other side in a safer, more
Yeah.
graceful way
Yeah.
without freaking out
Yeah.
all the way.
Yeah.
Would you
It's
like
just time to stop being afraid of feeling. That's
Yeah, okay, even when
thing.
it comes to going into large crowds in London, huh?
Yeah. I'll start tours in London, like taking you around to feel, and you'll feel a very different
Down with me, and I'll just hold your hand while we're walking through the street. Like,
yeah.
so do you have time to take the viewing audience through
Mhm.
a short embodiment
Yeah.
process? Because I like
Yeah.
to give a feeling of some sort.
Yeah, let's just go straight in.
Okay.
So, as I said, we've been conditioned to live in the front of the body. So just take a deep breath and allow yourself to just feel the presence of your body, to feel the essence of who you are in the front of the body, and then slowly imagine that you can move that sense of self to the back of the body. So take your awareness to the back of the head. Allow your eyes to sink back into the body and take the awareness to the back of the upper back and the abdomen and the torso. And really feel as if you are drawing all of the essence of who you are to reside at the back of the body, to rest, to surrender into yourself, and allow that essence at the pelvis to move back to the back of the body and all the way down the legs, down to the feet. Just rest back in your own sense of self, your own sense of being. And just take some deep breaths there and feel what it feels like to be aware of what is going on inside of you. Awareness is everything. And before you come back and open your eyes, allow yourself not to look out, but as if when you open your eyes and look in your room, that your room, an object is coming towards you rather than you looking out towards it.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. So simple, right?
Thank you very much. You know what? I'll just tell you my little experience with that. Um, when you're laying down and people are telling you to sink into the floor, like in a yoga
Mhm.
class, and everything sinks into the floor and you
Mhm.
feel like you're part of the floor.
Yeah.
I've never done that vertically before, and
Mhm.
it almost felt like my whole body was just like kind of swaying back. And I remember
Mhm.
a few years ago when an amazing healer, the myofascia guy I was working with, I told him I was laying on the table and I said, I've got a headache at the moment. And he said, well, why don't you just roll that headache down your body? And I thought, what a cool
Yeah.
idea. And I
Mhm.
rolled the headache down my butt. It was like the coolest thing. We have so much
Mhm.
power within
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sense that you had of resting back,
Mm.
imagine doing that and then feeling that the ether, the air can support you so you can relax, right? Because that's what you will begin to feel, that you are held in suspended animation by life.
They
And
got
that's how we're
back.
supposed to reside in the body, not paddling forward all the time, but resting back and letting life come to us so we can receive life, not try and battle our way through life.
Wow. It's such a simple thing. And I think that a lot of people complicate the simplest of things. Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Life is meant to be simple and easeful. And like you said, we have gone so far in our minds that we've created systems and complications for everything. Not to say that some of the systems aren't good, but to live in the body is actually quite easy when we allow ourselves to surrender and rest back. And it is that simple. And that was another thing that I wanted. I was tired of battling to heal. I wanted simplicity, and I got simplicity. And the things that I've put in the book are very simple techniques to begin to get you feeling, like I said, feeling what it's like to actually inhabit your body without being scared of being in your body.
So this could be very helpful. And I'm also thinking perhaps scary for people who are ill or are in pain, serious, or
Yeah.
are in pain. Maybe they are afraid of really being in their
Yeah.
body because it's not the body that they're wanting, perhaps.
No. I had ME for 15 years. I still have parts of ME in my body. And I was in pain I was bedridden for when Jesus came to me, I was bedridden for 2 years. And he told me to get the F out of bed or else I was going to die. And I had to drag myself on the floor to get out of bed and begin to live again. And it is scary to feel. Like I said, I'm not saying it's an easy process, but on the other side of that is so much bliss and joy. And I know if I can do it after wanting to die and being bedridden for God knows how long and, suffering the way I have, anyone can do it.
Wow, you're so brave. And I really, really appreciate all of your wisdom and also that exercise. I'm going to do that a lot now. And all of you, if you haven't yet, go and buy Coco Oya's beautiful book, Digging for Mother's Bones. It's available on Amazon. And tell people what your website is again, please.
It's www.creativelycoco.com.
That's right. Or you can find me at shannonbtb.com or shannonoflaherty.com. And if there's one key thing that you would like our viewing and listening audience to take away with them today,
is that your body is a living library. The mind is just a mere tool. It's not meant to run the show. You are meant to be a big fat feeler.
I love that. Let's all be big fat feelers. And Coco Oya, here is a big fat hug from me, and I hope you're feeling me. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think you're an amazing woman. I love all of the feels I get when I talk to you. I'm going to kidnap you and take you to London with me. And it's really wonderful to connect with you here. I hope that you'll be my guest again in the future. We could talk about something else, I'm sure. And thank you for your wisdom and your time this evening. It's been a great honor.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Shannon.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time. You have been listening to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance with Shannon O'Flaherty on Transformation Talk Radio. On the second Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, we connect the dots between your ancestors, your birth, and the patterns that keep you stuck, guiding you to a place of profound healing and unstoppable brilliance. By examining and healing your cellular imprint from birth of how you perceive and respond to the world and the challenges that are created in your day-to-day life, we can begin to heal and live more balanced and fulfilling lives. For more information, visit shannonbtb.com. That's shannonbtb.com.